guess we fell into food because we saw a real gap in expensive kombuchas in the back of health stores and what we were seeing in grocery and Tesco Sainsbury's. And we were like, could we bring that to a mass market audience? And at the time, like, if I'd known the hill we had to climb, would we have just done expensive kombucha? Having products that are functional, and we were pricing them competitively against confectionery. How much product you have to shift to get to $1 million revenue is insane.
Well, these are things you wish you'd known.
Yeah, I think just knowing that it was a volume play, and we knew that because we wanted it to be mass market, but it was more because we wanted everyone to have it rather than crunching the numbers and this is much stuff you've got to shift to get to $1 million in revenue.
It's amazing how many people who come on this show who say they didn't know what they were doing. If they had known the boulder they were going to have to push up the hill or whatever it was, they probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And even like the retailers, like because the first few listings came quite easily and have actually come easily for a brand of our size. But I guess once the doors open, you have to make that work. And there's some lessons that we've learned really steeply there because we thought gut health was a big thing and people still weren't on I think it's only just this year that it's really taken off.
So what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome and how have you done that?
I mean, sometimes we have to explain fibre to buyers at grocery. This is fibre, this is why it's good for our health, this is why it's good for our gut health. Really going back to basics and saying we deserve a place on shelf because it's the right thing. It's not going to sell as much as X, Y, and Z because people are still going to buy chocolate bars and crisps in their meal deal. But can you have us there as an option, please? Because we know that wave is coming and we want people to have a better option. That's not an easy sell to a buyer who wants to make money. And I think that was the language that we spoke then was all about the brand and getting people excited. And we didn't have the commercial vocabulary to say in the future, this is going to benefit you because this wave is coming. And if you're not on it, you're going to get left behind. And I wish I'd had the confidence then and then no wherewithal to say that, but obviously I didn't.
But you do say that now.
Yeah.
I love that word, the commercial vocabulary, because I think that's something that every entrepreneur faces is not knowing that they don't know the commercial vocabulary. When they get it, then like, now I know how to do this.
The amount of investor meetings I could have circumvented or done better just having a better handle on financial vocabulary in their language.
Yeah.
And flexing what we have, because the brand is great if you're going for a trade sale or you're speaking to a retailer, but for an investor they're just like, show me the numbers. That brand is woolly, that's a woolly thing on this side. I get the value, but what's the nuts and bolts of this business? And I wish that I'd known that. And even now we're still like, I'm on the Goldman Sachs and I'm back at Oxford Uni in a minute. So Goldman Sachs basically pay for the group of entrepreneurs to go back to Oxford, which is like another working class Scottish tick. Like, I'm at Oxford, mum. And going back and learning business theory, because we're at SIA Business School, going back and learning the theory, I'm like, oh my God, if I'd known some of this chat. I know all of it instinctively.
And some of that chat, it's chat.
Yeah, it's just being able to speak to someone from finance.
How can somebody get that information? This is such an important point. Like, how can they get the chat? You got it through going through the chat. It is possible to get the chat beforehand, isn't it?
Yeah. I think.
What would you advise other people to get it beforehand? How? Where? Google.
Yes, look like shows like this. Other founders that are talking about it, because they will naturally start to talk in a way that they need to for investors or to sell their brand and learning from that. And I can tell you all you need to know now. So I wish I'd been around 5 years ago.
So the decision on price point, you've sat your product in, you've said next to confectionery. Is that where you positioned it?
We are now, yeah. Before we were like, some retailers were like next to Gaviscon and Imodium and got products. But now in the main grocers, we're front of store and in meal deal, which is crazy. Yeah.
But that's been a decision that's both got amazing benefits, but also brings huge challenges in terms of volume.
Yeah. And
how do you overcome that then to drive the volume? What's the average price point of your product when it's sat front of store next to confectionery?
Yeah. So in the bars are around about £1.30.
Yeah.
So a little bit more expensive, but in order to warrant even that 10-20p, which for us, you're like, oh, okay, that's not much.
Yeah.
As a consumer, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You need to be able to say that functional benefit, but we're not allowed to make health claims on pack or say that fibre is good for your gut. So you have to do so much work in brand awareness and educating the consumer elsewhere in order for them to pick up that. And as a small brand, we can't afford big point of sale activations and things like that. Like, we have to do loads of guerrilla stuff and loads of brand awareness to make sure that we're educating people before they get to that point in store.
So what are some of the guerrilla things you've done that have really worked out?
We put poo posters on bus stops. And we did that campaign. Basically, we'd had an idea for another campaign, and my husband and I, it was the Christmas that nobody in COVID, where nobody could have Christmas dinner.
Oh, yeah,
Just my husband and I. And we just got the email to say, you can't run this campaign. And the advertising company messaged me to say, look, there's another lockdown. You've paid for all this advertising space. Do you still want it? And I was like, can you double the amount of sites? Because no one's going to see it. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, let's just go for it. And my husband was like, just put the poos on there, like the Bristol Stew chart, and we'll name them funny names. So we did like Punami and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it turns out that campaign won so many awards. It was in all the press and everywhere. And it was literally like just being bold enough. And now when I go on calls, people are like, are you the ones that put pink poos on bus stops? Like, yeah, that was us. And that created a brand awareness beyond the product.
Yeah.
Actually, when we've done those sort of campaigns we did one with the bars. It was like amazing going in, better coming out. But didn't do as well. So we created that kind of brand awareness halo that now people recognise us when they go in store. But it was an accident.
And what role does the media side of your business play in brand awareness?
Yeah, huge.
Just explain to people what you do on media, because your approach is really interesting, I think.
Yeah, so we have like book deals. So we have publishers here, the US and around Europe. So we've written 3 books so far. I'm trying to get me to do 4 and 5, but I need a good night's sleep first.
A book's a massive task, isn't it? They're huge.
And people don't, it's just so much, it's just a muscle and a discipline that you need time and space for that you don't get in the day-to-day running of our business. They're great for marketing, they're great for brand awareness. And we then sold a TV format to Universal NBC, so it's not only aired in the UK now, but it's in Germany, Belgium, and it's all around the world, which is amazing. And we've just launched a new format.
And that's ongoing, isn't it?
Yeah, and we actually came up with the idea and owned some of the distributions for that, which is what we wanted. Because I think before we were in the entertainment industry, we were puppets.
Yeah.
And we were told what to be, where, what to wear. And then we were like, we're going in as producers, as exec producers of the show. We come with the ideas as ours.
Yeah.
And this is how we'd like it to play out. And actually the production company really got that and were amazing, and we were really instrumental in it. And we've just launched the second sort of product of that, which is a podcast called Chat. Obviously, where we get a celebrity and an expert, and the celebrity gets to ask the expert anything about gut health, and we've got Dan on sponsoring series 2, and it was number 3 in the nutrition podcast and stuff like that. So it's done really well, but I guess that we make money from that, which puts petrol on the rest of the business.
And what difference has it made having owned media, even if via distributors globally, to the brand? Like, where do you think you'd be without that channel for brand awareness?
Yeah, we'd just be having to pay a lot more money to get those eyeballs. So we'd be having to pay for it rather than having earned media. Like, I think the TV show got 140 articles of press, which if we'd had to pay for would have been millions and millions of pounds. And again, that sort of happened by, I guess, accident. And Alana and I going, if we have, friends that have profiles who have come from that world, why are we not using those skills to benefit this bit?
Yeah.
Because this bit's certainly not our comfort zone. So can we do some bits in our comfort zone that are going to help for us in order to be able to do this more effectively and cost efficient?
And I think it's brilliant because so many brands, I mean, you're slightly different because you're mainly selling through retail versus e-commerce, aren't you, in terms of the distribution of revenue. But so many brands have to spend so much money on digital advertising just to get brand awareness, let alone consumers buying. And I think what I love about you is the way you've brought your skills from the past to circumnavigate that in some way, although you still have to put effort into it, don't you? It's not like easy or overnight or a secret magic button.
Yeah, and I think people think that's what Alana and I do every day, is like the TV stuff and the podcast. And I'm like, it's about 1% of what I do.
Yeah.
And it's the bit that I'm like, oh God, I can't be bored putting makeup on and doing that. 99% of the time we're in our trackies behind the P&L putting out fires. And that, like any other founder, and it's just sometimes it's an inconvenience for us when we have to just be cracking on with stuff.
Yeah.
Particularly for something like a TV show, which we filmed for 3 months. Yeah, it's good for us to have that, but it can be a distraction as well.